Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the 10, the second annual edition of the 10. And this week it is top 10 Marvel villains of all time. I, of course, am your host, Caleb Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Cameron. Cameron, how you doing?
I'm doing perfect, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. You ready to start this list?
I am ready. Let's go.
First up, we have number 10, and that is Galactus, making his initial appearance in Thor 134 in 1966. This galactic villain was invented by the Big Bang, and then he started eating planets, dealing with other cosmic superheroes like Silver Surfer and like the Fantastic Four, and there is nothing that will ever quench Galactus' insatiable hunger for eating worlds and just killing billions of people. Cameron, why don't you just give us some insight on Galactus?
He's awesome. That's one thing you should know. Number 2, he's awesome. And number 3, he's awesome.
And he has a giant helmet.
He does.
For a giant man.
Giant man.
He's a very large man.
He is. He is.
He has a big spaceship that's even bigger.
That is also true.
Well, it's just Galactus is just obsessed with large things.
I wonder if he's large where it matters, though.
Well, he's like, what, like 5,000 feet tall? He would have to have a big dick. I guess that makes sense.
That doesn't mean anything, though.
It would have to be at least the size of a skyscraper. Anyway, number 9 on this list is another cosmic villain. That is Thanos, who is going to be appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers Age of Ultron, and he's just going to be in like a bunch of Marvel stuff because he's like really important and likes the Infinity Gauntlet. And he made his initial appearance in Iron Man number 55 in 1973. He was born on Titan, which is a moon of a planet I forgot to write down. And of course he carries the deviant gene, so he looks different than everyone else. And he's like obsessed with death, and he wants to like fuck death. Like his like girlfriend is death. Like Thanos is obsessed with death and gauntlets that may or may not be infinity. Cameron, what do you think of Thanos?
Thanos is badass.
See, I'm not a huge fan of Thanos, but just personally,
that saddens me.
See, personally, it's just me. I don't get a lot of the hype about Thanos, but there's no doubt that he deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
See, he's an extremely popular and extremely powerful villain in the Marvel universe, and he's going to be huge in the cinematic universe as well. Speaking of villains in the cinematic universe, a guy who's going to be the main antagonist of the next Avengers movie, number 8 on this list, and that is Ultron, who made his initial appearance in Avengers number 54 in 1968. He was created by the brain patterns of Dr. Hank Pym, who is also known as Ant-Man and Giant Man and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, Ultron is a fucking robot, humanoid person who likes to update himself and get really badass, and he's damn near unbeatable, and Age of Ultron is a great storyline. Cameron, do you like Ultron? Do you like all of his versions? Remember the time he became a woman?
I try to forget that, because a little creepy. But I do like Ultron.
Exactly. Ultron is just an incredible villain, and he's not even human.
He's not. He's not.
He's not at all. None of him is human. He's just basically, Hank Pym was like, fuck it, I'm scanning my brainwaves, and that made an amazing villain. So maybe Hank Pym should stop being so stupid.
Maybe. We had a funny conversation about Ant-Man last night.
We did. It was a really weird conversation.
Yeah.
But anyway, Hank Pym isn't going to be the creator of Ultron either in Age of Ultron. I guess it's going to be Tony Stark.
Sigh.
Which makes sense, though, with the movie stuff, because Hank Pym's going to like be retired in Ant-Man or something. It's a bit weird. But anyway, number 7, going away from more of Avengers-ish villains, number 7 on this list is an X-Men villain, and he is a mutant. It might be the first mutant making his first appearance in 1986, born 5,000 years ago in Accra, Egypt, and that is Apocolypse. And he was originally born in Sabanur, but then this girl rejected him, so he went fucking nuts and took over Egypt and became Apocolypse. And became hell-bent on world domination and infused himself with alien technology to become really badass and immortal. Karen, don't you just love Sabanur?
I do. I was so hyped when... You know, I'm not going to say, because that could be a spoiler for some people, because the movie is relatively new. Never mind. Just forget anything I said. He's amazing. I love Apocolypse.
X-Men Apocalypse looks great.
Oh.
Like, well, we don't know because we haven't seen anything about it yet, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get new X-Men movies more and more. Like every other year. That's nice.
Because me and you are X-Men marks. If the people
We are. Yeah, X-Men is like my favorite Marvel comic ever.
Yes, same.
Anyway, so Apocalypse, he's badass, and he's all about that damn survival of the fittest, and he also had a video game kind of named after him. Rise of Apocalypse. It was a good game.
It was.
Number 6 on this list is the super demonic Mephisto, who some could even say is Marvel's version of the devil. He first made an appearance in Silver Surfer number 3, 1968, and he was created by the Supreme Being, whatever that means, and has no concept of good, and he's just super demonic. He took Ghost Rider's soul, and he's just badass, and he fucked with Peter Parker's life and erased things, and it's just awesome. He fucks with everyone in the Marvel Universe. Mephisto doesn't give a shit. He took Doctor Doom's mother's soul, which led to If it wasn't for Mephisto, Doctor Doom and Reed Richards would still be good friends because Doctor Doom would have never made that machine that hurt his face. So Mephisto fucks everything up for everyone. He's kind of just a dick.
True.
Don't you just love Mephisto?
Eh?
What's your beef with Mephisto?
I don't have any beef, just not that big of a fan.
I see. I think he's amazing, and I think that you should just breed a bunch of stuff involving him.
I will.
That's good. And then from number 6 to number 5, which is kind of demonic-ish, but not actually demonic, number 5 is Dark Phoenix. First made the appearance as the Dark Phoenix in Uncanny X-Men, number 129 through 138 in 1980. And of course, Dark Phoenix is Jean Grey, because Jean Grey got possessed by the Phoenix Force when exposed to solar flares when she died. In space. So then she went fucking nuts and had control of the Phoenix Force, and the Phoenix Force just took control of her, and then she just went nuts and like attacked people, and Cyclops had to hold her and scream at the sky.
Can I say something?
Yes.
If it was up to me, Phoenix would be a lot higher. You know that I had Phoenix a lot higher, right?
I know, but the 4 people above her are deserving.
They are deserving. I love Phoenix. Personally, one of my favorite villains.
I do. I love her. Jean Grey in general is my favorite female comic book character ever.
Yes.
But nonetheless, the Dark Phoenix is number 5 just because of the whole trials and tribulations of these people having to fight their good friend who is bad and has a glowing bird coming out of her body.
Yes.
And Dark Phoenix Saga is one of the greatest storylines ever.
That is very, very true.
Now we go from a Dark Phoenix to a god, number 4,
Eminem?
Loki. Oh, that's good. That's good. No, and he made his first appearance in Journey into Mystery number 85 in 1962. And basically, his whole origin is that he's not really a god or from Asgard. He's originally from Niflheim, and he's a frost giant baby. And Odin found him and was like, "Oh shit, I'm stealing this dude's baby." And then him and Thor grew up loathing each other, and that's why Loki kind of became an asshole and caused so much mischief and became the god of mischief. But then over the years, because Loki became so insane, he was eventually known as the god of evil. And he's most well known for Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of him in Thor: The Avengers and Thor: The Dark World. And I will say it is badass.
Yes.
Loki is seriously one of the most iconic villains going right now.
Oh my god, yes. Loki is amazing.
And the thing people also need to remember is Loki was amazing before he was in the movies.
Exactly.
I feel like people just watch the movies and they're like, "Oh man, Loki's awesome." Like I've been a fan of Loki for like years.
Same.
He's awesome.
Same.
The horned helmet, yeah.
Yes.
The
Better
horned
than
helmet.
Thor's helmet.
Just in general, he's just better than Thor.
True. Very true.
Number 3 on this list is Spider-Man's main baddie, and that is Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, or the Iron Patriot. First made his appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man number 14. He attempted to recreate mental strength and experimental whatever serum, and it made him fucking nuts, and he became the Green Goblin, and he eventually kind of took over the Avengers and started the Dark Reign and became the Iron Patriot. And he's also just known as the Green Goblin in general. And he's just an amazing villain. Just the fact that he's Peter Parker's best friend's father adds so much to it. Just Cameron, don't you agree? Green Goblin is such an amazing villain.
Oh, Green Goblin. We don't have enough time for me to say all the things I would love to say about Green Goblin. Green Goblin is awesome.
Exactly. Norman Osborn is just one of the greatest villains ever. And not only that, but Willem Dafoe's portrayal of him in Spider-Man was amazing.
Yes.
Number 2 on this list, somebody call a doctor. Oh no, wrong Doctor. It's Dr. Doom. That was lame as fuck. Dr. Doom made his first appearance in Fantastic Four number 5 in 1962. He was born in the fictional country of Latveria, and a failed experiment in college scarred his face. And it turns out that Ben Grimm caused the accident, which is why he hates Fantastic Four so much. And him and Reed Richards are no longer friends. And he eventually became dictator of Latveria and wears a metal mask over his face to cover his scarred face. And he got some cool ass powers. And basically, he just wants to fuck with Fantastic Four and kind of just be awesome.
I love Doctor Doom. I lobbied to get him where he's at now. Did I not?
You did. He was originally lower, but
Yes.
you really wanted him to be number 2.
Yes,
You really wanted him there.
I love Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom is a fantastic character. Even though his name is a bit lame, it's on the lamer side, but still, nonetheless, you can't deny that Doctor Doom is awesome.
Yes.
And he's the best thing in Fantastic Four in general. Remember that time that Doctor Doom was a plastic surgeon?
Yeah.
Good times. And that leads us to number 1 on this list, which is obvious at this point, and that is Magneto making his first appearance in X-Men number 1 in 1963. This metal-manipulating mutant was in the death camps in Nazi Germany, and he discovered his powers and his mutations, and he's a mutant. Eventually met Charles Xavier and started forming the X-Men, and then he decided, whoa, we're the dominant species, humans are assholes, so he began the Brotherhood of Mutants, and that turned into the Acolytes, and it turned into Genosha, and basically Magneto just became an all-around badass who wanted to show that mutants are better than humans.
Which they kind of are.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not only do I think Magneto is the greatest Marvel villain in history, I think Magneto is my favorite comic book character ever.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I love Magneto so much. He's just so amazing. Everything about him is amazing. It's basically... This guy just basically fucking said, like, hey, I'm Magneto, I'm a mutant, I'm taking over this world, I'm making my own continent, and an asteroid, fuck y'all. And I probably would have joined him over Xavier, because Xavier's cool, but, Magneto all the way.
You can't bang Rogue and Jean Grey.
No one can bang Rogue. It's kind of impossible. You would die.
If you have a strap on and you could...
You do, but then that causes a whole nother mess of problems.
You see, I'll tell you what I was going to say later because this is PG. This show is PG.
I've said fuck like 9 times.
Well, this show is PG. It's meant for kids, and we're kind of dragging on.
Okay, fine. So anyway, number 1 is Magneto. So anyway, nonetheless, feel free to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, do whatever the fuck you want. Do you want to go in the comment section and say, oh man, we loved your list, it was amazing, it was the best list ever? Do you want to say, you guys are faggots, your list was stupid, why was Thanos not number 1, Magneto's a gay asshole? If you want to say that, I mean, I guess you can. I mean, I don't give a fuck what you say, as long as it's not to me and I won't get rid of it.
And I would
but if it's like really...
I would like
I'm sorry.
to say, honorable mention, Mystique. We couldn't really find a place for her on the list.
There's no... Mystique isn't top 10.
She isn't top 10, but she's pretty awesome.
Exactly. Mystique is pretty awesome. And then I wanted Venom on the list as well, but that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, nonetheless, like I said, you do whatever the fuck you all want. Subscribe, whatever. New top 10 next week. It's not always comic book stuff, just we've happened to have 2 in a row. Unless I'm Caleb.
I'm Cameron.
Okay,